Hi, I'm Mary Beth McAndrews from Dread Central. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
So good. So nice to meet you. Congratulations on Alma and the Wolf. How are you feeling?
Oh my God, so good. Thanks for asking.
So this is like such a basic question, but I'm always so curious. Where did Alma and the Wolf, like where did you come in? Where did this begin for you? Where did your journey with Alma and the Wolf begin?
Well, it was a script that I'd read a while ago that Abby had written, I think many years ago, and sort of had in a drawer. And I had read it, and I almost made it several years ago, and instead wound up making a sort of horror western called Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail. Sorry.
Yeah. But that was so I made that movie first, and then once we had that movie done, we moved on to developing this and getting this going. So
Cool.
it was something that had
Hell
been on my
yeah.
radar for a while, and there was always something about it, a sort of basic sort of psychological truth, like at the heart of Alma and the Wolf, that was really attractive to
Yeah.
me, and I didn't feel like I had exactly seen anywhere else. And it also is a great, the other thing is, the way we developed it into a way to make not just one horror movie, but it's actually several horror movies kind of jammed into one horror movie.
Hell
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah. No,
And that was
absolutely.
appealing to
And
me as a filmmaker. Like I enjoy a good tonal challenge.
I was gonna say, like, this movie is balancing so many different tones. Like, I love the comedy that kind of swoops in for a moment and like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is funny, and then like a gut punch in the next beat. And I kind of love the way this navigates so many tones. And I was actually curious about that for you as a filmmaker and what that was like navigating and balancing all of these kind of tones and genres going on here. Because I love that. It's you're playing with some really cool stuff.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, to me, that's a sort of, as a filmmaker, that's always been something that I've wanted to do. I mean, even in my
Yeah.
comedy work, that's something that's really present. A movie I made many years ago, Drop Dead Gorgeous, is a pretty much like a laugh out loud comedy, but it's also slightly horrible. Like,
Yes, I was gonna say it's like there's like dark horror elements that kind of
there's
leak
dark
in
horror
in that
elements, but
movie.
there's also there's laugh out loud comedy. There's a lot of emotional warmth. There's a lot of grotesquerie. There's a lot of like you could look at all of my movies through that lens of like trying to like weave together these sort of disparate feelings about like the horrible, the grotesque, the emotionally warm, the funny and the unimaginably awful.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it. Like there's a warmth and also like, oh my God, everything is terrible. And I feel like that's even
Right.
more apparent in Alma and the Wolf, whereas a
Well, yeah,
little bit more
it leans a little more
a
on the
little bit
terrible
more
side.
terrible side.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to, I did want to hear how you worked with your composer because I really love the
Mhm.
music in this movie and the way
Yeah.
that it like adds to this almost like a little bit of a fairy tale, but not too much quality to it. And I just wanted to hear
Mhm.
more about that work with the composer because the music really works so well in the film.
Yes. Well, Craig Wedren and Jarek Bischoff did the music, and they're phenomenal. I've been friends with Craig since I was 18 years old. And
Whoa.
like Craig is, as with a lot of people, like also Kevin Allison, who's in the movie, I've also been friends with since I was 18. Mather Zickel, who's in the movie, I've been friends with him since I was a
Oh,
teenager.
cool. Oh, that's
And
so
we've worked
rad.
together since we were in our teens, really, all of us. If you can believe it. I mean, it's one of the great, it's one of the best, it's the best thing about being like an artist is getting to work with your friends over and over again, finding people with you have like a great affinity for, and then getting
Yeah.
together and making things that are like wonderful or fucked up or, all the, working in all the different palettes
All
of
of
the
them
rainbow,
together. Yeah.
But Craig's a great, like Craig was probably like when I met Craig when I was 18, he was already in a band called Shudder to Think that I was like head over heels in love with. And also they were like an very art rock band, I would say. They came out of DC hardcore, but they were very different. And I remember like listening to his records that he was putting out. And I was his roommate, and he was putting out
Oh,
records.
cool. Wait, were you in DC? Were you based in DC?
No, this is when we both went to NYU.
Oh, okay, cool. I live in DC. That's the only reason I asked.
Oh, okay,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hell
So
yeah.
this is when we were both at NYU. We used to live in the East Village together for a while. And I would listen
Hell
to his
yeah.
records and be like, it's such like the mystery. He was one of the people who was like so in tune with being an artist that I feel like for me, who was a little more sort of like ordered in my thinking, it was like he was my introduction to like, oh, this is how you do this. Like it doesn't make sense. It makes sense. Like it's not here,
Yeah.
it's here, and then it comes up to here. But Craig was a person who really taught me that through his own work. and we've worked together. Craig has scored in some way or another, has worked on almost every project that I've done that I could get him on, you know? And he's become a big
Cool.
time, not just like a rock guy, but he's a big time composer. Like he does Yellow Jackets. Um,
It's so cool. And that's like you said, that's the best part about like making being a creative is like working with your friends and watching them do really cool stuff. And then they also work on your cool projects too. And you're like,
yeah.
it's neat.
Yeah, so like I go and like hang out in Craig's backyard. You know, my son is in the movie as well, and like so he's known my son the whole since he was born, and like terrible things happen to my son in this movie, but like he gets to watch that together, and I'm sitting in his backyard screening the movie, and his son is sitting there like in his home studio, playing guitar with him, and it's like so it's a very sort of family affair, especially with the music, but also like.
That's so
Craig
cool.
and Jarek is an awesome, composer and instrumentalist and everything in his own right. Like together, they're like a dream team for me. But also, it's very, very cozy and warm for me to work with them, even if it's like, even if the subject matter is incredibly dark. And as you've seen the movie, it gets dark.
Yeah.
So
Dark, dark.
dark.
Well, well, my time is up, but thank you so much for chatting about this film. I
Oh, hey,
loved
thank
all
you,
of
thank
the,
you. My pleasure.
absolutely, and it's so cool to see you pivoting into even more horror in your with directing. So hopefully we get to see more horror from you in the
Or
future.
maybe some more horror, but definitely also some more comedy coming up. So we'll see.
Hell yeah. No boxes. Always working out of genre in and out of genre. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, thank you. So nice to meet you. Have a great
Uh,
rest of your day.
Nice to meet you too. Take it easy. Bye bye.